Are you in the process of buying a home or considering buying a home? Then you need to watch this video as we're going to discuss the 5 biggest mistakes that first-time home buyers make. Now, we're not going to talk about the traditional things like getting a pre-approval and going out and shopping for a home without being pre-approved. You already know those things. We're going to talk about 5 different things that I see home buyers make as a 20-year veteran in the industry. So let's take a minute and just dive right into it. Now, the first thing I'm going to talk about today is something contrary to what you actually feel or actually believe that you should feel when looking at a property. As a real estate agent, someone with experience, I don't want you to fall in love with a property before actually closing escrow on that property. Now, you might see, Jeb, that's crazy. Why should I make an offer on a property? Why should I get excited about moving forward with a property if I'm not actually in love with it? Now, I do want you to like the property. I want you to see yourself living in the property, but I don't want you to fall in love with the property. I feel like that's a mistake because it hinders your ability to negotiate. Once you're in love with the property, emotionally, you already moved in. When the seller comes back and says, we're not willing to do your repairs, or we're not willing to negotiate on the appraisal, or we're not willing to do X, you've lost leverage in the negotiation if you've already moved into that property mentally. If you've already fallen in love, you're losing at the negotiation. And as your real estate agent, I want to be able to negotiate on your behalf. I want to use my expertise, my experience to help get you to the finish line. And if you've already fallen in love, and I'm trying to tell you that this is the way we should approach it, you might be less willing to do that because you think you're going to lose the property because you're in love with it. So number 1 mistake is don't fall in love. Now I didn't mention this at the beginning, but I probably should have, is that these are in no particular order except the last one. The last one is the most important out of the 5. So make sure you stick around to the end of the video so that you can see the most important mistake that most home buyers make, that as a first-time home buyer, you need to know this so that you're not making that same mistake. And if you find value in this content, do me a favor, give me a thumbs up, help other people see it, share it with anybody that you know that might be looking to purchase a property so they can get the same education and experience that you have by watching this video. So hit that thumbs up button. Now, the second thing we're going to talk about is waiving everything. Waiving the appraisal, waiving your home inspection, just waiving the entire process in order to get your offer accepted. Now, I realize it's a competitive market out there. The real estate market is crazy. A lot of offers on a lot of properties. Things are selling way above the asking price. And your realtor may be telling you that in order to get your offer accepted, this is what you have to do. That is a mistake in my opinion. An experienced real estate agent will guide you through the process. They'll tell you, suggestions on how to approach offers, but don't think that you have to do these things just to get your offer accepted. Now, in some cases it may help your offer stand out, but also understand that by doing these, you could put your deposit at risk. So approach it lightly, take the guidance from your real estate agent, have them provide some proof of what they're asking you to do just to confirm you're not putting yourself at risk. So don't make the mistake of falling in love. Don't make the mistake of waiving everything just to get your offer in top position. Now, things will loosen up, more inventory will eventually come to the market. You'll have an opportunity to likely purchase something without having to do that. So I would rather you wait a little bit, find the right property, not put yourself at risk versus going the other direction and potentially losing your deposit because something happens. Now, the third thing is something that I want you to really think about here. And it's something that, most people aren't going to tell you, but it's a mistake that a lot of home buyers make, and that is going with a lender just because they have the lowest rate. Now, I know you're saying, well, why wouldn't I go with the lender that offers the lowest rate? It's because they're not always the best fit. Now, the lowest rate, yeah, it looks great as far as your monthly payment goes, but you need a professional on your side, someone that can educate you through the process, not just tell you what to do, but make sure they're providing education through the process, someone that's going to pick up their phone on the weekends, someone that can explain the differences in the types of programs, why you're doing one thing over another, someone that can have a conversation with the listing agent on the other side to be able to convey how strong of a client you are. And by going with the lowest offer, or the lowest rate, in many instances, it could be some sort of bait and switch tactic, right? If you're going online and trying to find lenders, you might find a lender that offers you a slightly lower rate than the next guy. But make sure it's not just about the rate. So make sure you're weighing all of the things, expertise, how long they've been in the business, experience, because the person offering the lowest rate may not know what they're doing, how to structure that deal, how to put that deal together. And if the deal ends up falling apart, then the lowest rate never mattered to begin with. So make sure you're taking the time to not only find the lender with the best rate and terms, but also someone that has the experience, the expertise to actually get the deal done at the end of the day. Now, the fourth thing that we're going to talk about today is not being flexible, right? Buyers get into the home buying process. They're stuck on the 3-bedroom, 2-bath with the yard and the picket fence in the right school district, and they don't flex from that. That's a mistake, especially in the market that we're in right now. Low supply, very high buyer demand. Now, I'm not telling you that you should settle on a house. You should never settle on a property, but sometimes you have to be flexible. If you want the kitchen that is completely open, that has the quartz counters, the white shaker cabinets, the gray walls, the hardwood floor, those are things that can be changed over time, right? You can't pick a house up and move it. So focus on the location, focus on the school district that we mentioned earlier, if that's important to you, the bedrooms, the bathrooms, that stuff's important, but don't get caught up in the cosmetic upgrades of a property. All of that stuff can be replaced. Now, it might take you some time to do that. You might not be able to move in immediately and have the cash to be able to upgrade that property, but that's not the most important piece of that puzzle. The location, the school district, those things are the things that actually matter. And over time, you may have the funds, the ability, from your tax refunds or what have you, to be able to do the upgrades to the property to make it your own. Because a lot of people out in this housing market are watching the same shows that you're watching on HGTV. They love the exact same upgrades that you like. And when one of those properties does come on the market, it's competitive, right? Because everybody is looking for the same thing. And whereas you might be able to find something similar that doesn't have the upgrades, where you can put your own stamp on it at a later time. So buying something that doesn't have it and being a little bit more flexible in this market may give you a better opportunity to actually get into a property versus putting in offer after offer and never getting one accepted. So don't make the mistake of not being flexible, being too stuck to your list, if you will. Make sure you focus on the important things on that list, but don't get married to everything on that list. Otherwise, you could be putting yourself in a bad position to never find a property. And the last thing I want to talk about, and the most important thing, is budget, right? Have a budget in mind before actually talking to a lender if you can. What I mean by this is when you talk to a lender, most of the time that lender is going to tell you how much you can qualify for based on your income and your debt to income ratio. Now, that debt to income ratio doesn't take into account any ancillary expenses, right? They look at your gross monthly income and they look at the debts that show up on your credit report, your car payment, your credit card, your student loans, any installment loans, that sort of thing. But what they're not factoring in to your monthly debt is how much you spend on gas, how much you spend at the grocery store, how much you spend on vacations, how much you spend on babysitters or going out with friends. They don't factor in, the expenses that don't show up on your credit report. And therefore, they're telling you how much you can afford based on, the guidelines of the lender. FHA, you can go up to 57% debt to income ratio. Conventional, somewhere around 45% or so. VA can be over 50% in many cases. So that means gross monthly income, no taxes taken out, minus your debt, and they're taking a percentage of that to qualify you every month. And for a lot of people, they don't take the time to actually make a budget. They don't take the time to actually say, what can we truly afford to spend if we want to keep the same lifestyle that we have right now and buy a property? And what a lot of people do, and what I see happen often as a real estate agent for, again, nearly 20 years, is people buying property, not realizing how much it actually costs to maintain that property along with their monthly expenses, and end up being house poor, end up being married to the house, not being able to do anything because every single dollar they make is going into that property. So don't make that mistake. It's truly, truly the most important thing that you can do when buying a property is setting a budget, figuring out how much you're comfortable spending per month and sticking to that, telling the lender, hey, this is how much I can afford to pay. What can I buy at that payment? And then that will put you in a better position, when you're closing on that property, to know that you're not going to be in a position where you might need to sell that property because you can't truly afford it. So these are the things that I think are very, very important as a real estate agent. I would encourage you to watch this video, to share it with anybody that might be looking. But I'd love to know your comments below. Right? What do you think when you're buying a property? What do you think about the not falling in love strategy? About not potentially waiving all the contingencies, not going with the lender just because they're the lowest rate, about being flexible, and also about setting a budget. Let me know in the comments below, and I'll continue to put information out there as I see that I see can benefit you as a home buyer in this market. And do me a favor, if you find this content valuable, again, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you want more content like that, but I'll continue to update you. For now, I appreciate you taking the time to watch. I appreciate all the support. Hope to see you again soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.